Hi guys, it's me. I have a little visitor here who wanted to sit in my lap. This is my pup Flick. Say hi, Flick. It's F-L-I-K. It's my little man. He's really sweet. And he really loves to be cuddled and he really loves attention. So I had to bring him up here with me or else he was going to whine the whole time. No, just like that, right? Just like that. You ready to get down? No. Okay. So I'm here to talk to you today. It's April, which is Autism Awareness Month, and I had a guest who was supposed to sit here and talk with me a little bit, but the guest has declined at this point. So I decided I'm going to do something for Autism Awareness Month because I am an autism parent. So my special guest was going to be my son, Gabriel. He had agreed to it at first, and then when a time came to do it, he just really didn't feel comfortable. So I wasn't going to force him to do it. But it was a perfect example of his issues that he has with autism. He has Asperger syndrome. And when it came time to do it, I asked him about doing it, and I was like, well, listen, why didn't you just say in the very beginning that you didn't want to? Why did you agree to it? And he kind of just sat there, and I was like, hello? And he's like, well, I don't know what to say. And I think that is a big issue for him, is that there's so many situations where he just doesn't know what to say. And so he just doesn't say anything. And that can be very frustrating. And so that can be very frustrating for everybody involved. He does this with schoolwork as well. He works on a problem maybe for math and he doesn't quite get it. And he thinks he's got it and he doesn't know for sure. So instead of asking, he will either just not do it or he'll do it the way he thinks he should do it, which sometimes isn't correct. So that's a bit of a problem. We initially found out that Gabe had, I'm getting ahead of myself on some of this. We found out that Gabriel had Asperger syndrome when he was in about third or fourth grade. We knew we were in the process of testing and whatnot, and we had started that when he was in like first or second grade. But these things take time. It's not a quick process. Just to make sure that you get a diagnosis, and just to make sure it's the correct one. Are you ready to get down? All right, there you go. And you want to get the correct diagnosis. So he had neuropsychology testing, he had testing at school, he had all sorts of things done, and I mean, now that I look back on it, I can recognize things. Like I can say, oh, that's what that was, or that's why that happened. He was terrified of fire alarms. The sound just killed his ears. It didn't help that in his first day of kindergarten, they did a fire drill, like the very first day. He was terrified. Anytime they would do a fire drill, he would get so upset that he would vomit, and then I'd have to come get him. I kept trying to tell them he's vomiting because he's upset. He's not sick, but the rule is if the child vomits, you have to pick him up. So that happened an awful lot. So I was like, somebody needs to let him know it's coming, or something needs to happen. But we didn't recognize that as autism to start with. Just behavior. He had some behavioral issues when he was young. His preschool teacher just told us, his pre-K teacher told us that he used to jump off the chairs and make animal noises. Okay, well, but he went into school a little young. He was a year younger than everyone. Like he fit the cutoff, but he probably should have waited another year. So we just kind of assumed, yeah, he's an active boy who does those things. So tell us something we don't already know that he does. So I didn't see it as a problem, and later on it became more of a problem. He's very sensitive. He's a sensitive kid, and he takes everything literally. That is a trait of Asperger's and autism, or high functioning autism. And it can be comical at times, and it can be frustrating at times. One example of it being comical was he was probably about 7 or 8, and Wayne was telling him to go put up the laundry. He had a basket of laundry, and he said to him, "Where do you want me to put it?" Well, Wayne was like, to Wayne, it's duh, it goes upstairs. Okay, so Wayne's thought is, you know where to put it. You should be putting it upstairs. Gabriel is legitimately asking, where would you like me to put it? So Wayne, getting a little frustrated, responded, in the back room. Now, we would all realize he's being sarcastic. That's not something that Gabriel was able to pick up at the time. So literally, he turned around with the basket and started walking it here into the back room. Wayne was like, what? He took it completely literally. So sometimes it's funny, but there's times where he takes things very literally. I mean, things are black and white. There's no gray. You have to give him step-by-step instructions on how to do everything. You cannot assume that he knows how to do the in-between steps that we all just know to do. Because a lot of times I'll hear, well, nobody told me. Well, nobody told me. And in my mind, it's like, but nobody should have to tell you. I have to remind myself. I have to tell him. I have to tell him every single step of how to do everything. Or else, if it goes wrong, it's, well, nobody told me. He has taught me, I think, way more than I have taught him. He's taught me how to be patient. I've had to learn. I've had to learn about his condition and what I can do, what my part is in raising him to be a functioning member of society. And I mean, we have to do that with all of our children, but for a child with autism, it's more difficult. We're lucky that he is on the low end of the spectrum, which means he's high functioning, which always was confusing to me. It's the low end of the spectrum, but you're high functioning. Shouldn't we? You know what I mean? And he had this wonderful counselor. We had a mobile therapist that would come to the home, and her name was Eileen, Sister Eileen, come to find out, but I didn't know that at first, which was fine. I mean, trust me, I was 12 years at Catholic school, so I was very comfortable with her. She had previously been a principal of a Catholic school. She knew some of the teachers that I actually had in high school. So I was extremely comfortable in talking with her, and we could relate on a level knowing where I came from, and I knew where she came from. And so we connected that way, and I said something to her that after over a couple years, she ended up saying to me that she knew things were going to be different in my house from the very beginning. Because when she first came, I said to her, I need you to show me how to raise my kid, how to handle my child. I knew she was going to be talking with Gabe, but I needed help too. Because she wasn't always going to be there. She was going to be there 1 hour every week, 2 hours every week. She wasn't always going to be there. I needed to know what to do. And I told her, I want to learn. I want you to teach me what I'm supposed to do. And she told me that I was probably one of the first people that ever said that to her. And she's been doing this a long time, and all the years. And she said, and I was like, what do you mean? She said, most of the time I sit with the child and the parent or guardian sits in another room and does their own thing. And I was like, but how does that help everybody? I mean, it can help the child, but how does that help everybody? Because everybody has to live with that child. So if there's anything that I can stress, it would be don't send your child in with a therapist and then just, use it as some free time. Go in and talk to the therapist. I mean, that person is there to help you and help and do the things that are best for the child. And they're not going to be there in your house. So you need to learn how to take care of that child, and you need to learn what's effective for your child. So you need tools. Your child needs tools for their toolbox and how to cope with things, but you as a parent need to have tools as well in your toolbox. It's just, you can't fly by the seat of your pants. I mean, it's raising a kid is hard enough. Raising a kid with autism, it's challenging, but I wouldn't change it for the world. So many tears, so much laughter. He's my light, he's the light in my life, and he makes me happy, and I would never change a thing. I wouldn't change one day, because that would mean he wouldn't be the kid he is now. He wouldn't be who he is today. And I love the kid that he is today. So, yeah, I wouldn't change a thing. So, parents, just know that through all of your tears, there's going to be more laughter. More laughter than tears. You just have to get through those moments. We can't appreciate the light in our life if we don't have some darkness. It sounds so cliche, but it's true. The good goes with the bad, hand in hand, and together they create our lives. And it's a crazy journey that we're all on, and all we can do is make the best of what we have in front of us and treat everyone with kindness. So, for this Autism Awareness Month, I would challenge you to reach out to somebody that maybe you know has autism. I would challenge you to talk to people who are your friends that you know have siblings with autism and find out what their experience was like. Or talk to somebody with autism themselves and see if there's anything that they can recommend to you when it comes to approaching somebody with autism, or maybe even helping someone out. So that's all I've got for you guys today. I think that's an important message, and I just wanted to share that with everybody. Just love one another, no matter who they are or who they may become. Just love them, because you can be a part of making them into the wonderful person they're supposed to be. Have a great day. Love you guys.